diaries, and a very warm welcome to another episode of Fauza's Diary. If you are looking for something little and yet inspiring, then you have stumbled upon the right show. That's the beauty about my diaries. They inspire us, they encourage us, but also they give us a push. Not just you, but even to myself. And yes, I know before the year kicked in, we all have written our goals. We've all written our vision boards. So how is that going on? How is it going on? On this conversation, I want to encourage you to grab your coffee, your tea, your water, your juice, whatever you enjoy drinking, and let us have this conversation. Because this particular diary, it's going to give you some few points on how you can sit, ponder, pray about, and act upon. So grab your coffee, your tea, wherever. I'm having my favorite tea in my favorite mug. So join me on this conversation. And I want to pause a point here. Rather, I want to say to you, how are you going to set some achievable goals for yourself for this year? How are you going to do that? Because if you don't, the truth is, if you don't set boundaries, if you don't set your goals, if you don't have your vision boards, you are going to be everywhere. And at the end, not doing or not even achieving anything. I love my vision boards because I believe when you see it, it inspires you, it encourages you, and even when the going gets harder, you look back to the vision board and see the things that you have done so far, that it's going to encourage you. So, how are you going to set some rhythm for yourself for this year? But before we are able to do this, all vision boards and goals and all that, I want us to have these 7 areas in our life that we need to have access on, so that we can be able to achieve what is on the vision board and in our goals. 7 areas of your life and in my life that needs some check, so that we can have a good start as the year progresses. I want you to pay attention to your life, the girl inside you, the boy inside you. What is it telling you? Ask yourself. Yes, there will be days where things will seem a bit unfair, things will seem a bit difficult, but I want you to ask yourself, what did you do last week? Or what happened last week? What happened? Write it down. Take a moment to assess how you are in all aspects of your life. What did you do last week? And what happened last week? Question. How are you doing emotionally? I told you this conversation is going to help you have an assess of your whole life. How are you doing emotionally? Is it unattended? Is it out of control? Is it ignored? Is it the way we say sometimes, it is what it is? How is it? How are you doing emotionally? There is so much going on that if you're not careful to listen to the inner child, that's when stress kicks in. That's when anxiety kicks in. That's when worries kicks in. That's when fear kicks in. So how are you doing emotionally? I want you to be real. I want you to be intentional and do something about it. If it's unattended, if you don't even know how you feel, if you keep on saying it is what it is, I want you today to be honest and be intentional and do something about it. Because for you to be able to achieve the things that are on your vision board, to achieve the things that they are in your goals, you need to be emotionally fit so that you can be able to free up your mind, your body, your wellness, whatever it is, so that you can focus on the things that they matter. So I'm going to ask you again, how are you doing emotionally? If it's unattended, if it is what it is, if it's ignored, I want you to be intentional and do something about it. Okay? Physical. How are you doing physically? Are you taking the basic physical? Are you exercising? Are you taking some walks? Are you, caring for your body? How are you doing physically? Because our body, as a believer, it's the temple of God. And one of my priorities this year, which I am going to start doing, is caring for the body that God has healed from COVID. Yes, you guys, I'm going to be intentional and care for my body that God healed from COVID. So I want to ask you, how are you doing physically? Are you making excuses? Are you getting overwhelmed? Are you setting up goals which you know they are unachievable? What are you doing physically? I want to encourage you to be honest and have a check on that area. The other thing is spirituality. I honestly believe for you to be able to be whole and full, you need to be spiritually fed. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I am reminded in the scripture where Jesus sometimes used to draw away from the disciples so that he can fill his own cup. And if Jesus will do that, we need to do the same. How are you doing spiritually? Are you regularly consistent? Are you praying consistently? Do you read your Bible? Are you having a quiet moment sometimes to connect, to have a conversation, to have a relationship with your Creator? Because for you to be able to do what you have been called to do, you need to be intentional of your spiritual life. I am always reminded in the scriptures, God says, come to me. In Matthew, he says, come to me, you who are heavily laden. He says he will give us hope. So you need to be spiritually fed. Okay? Do something about it. Whatever you... For me as a believer, I believe that I need to have this quiet moment sometimes to draw from God. Because otherwise, I'm going to lose it, yo. It's so easy to lose it. If you don't have a place to go with this whole chaos of the world, it's easy to lose it. It's easy to lose your mind. Okay? How are you doing spiritually? Let's talk about our environment as well. How is the environment around you? How are you doing in your own house? Is it cluttered? Who do you spend most of your time with? Because the people we surround ourselves with, they can inspire us, they can uplift us, they can encourage us, but also they can break us. So where do you spend your time most? Who do you spend most of your time with? The environment around us is crucial. It is very important. So be intentional. Are you surrounding yourself with your confidence? Who they pray with you, they inspire you, they encourage you, sometimes they even give you a kick, they can be real with you and be honest with you and tell you, no, this is not going to work, maybe do this and that. You need these people. The people around you, the environment around you is very crucial. So be intentional of where you spend most of your time with and who you spend your time with. It's very important. Okay? Financially, one of the things that is in my vision board this year is being intentional with my finances. Where are you spending most of your money? How are you doing financially? And this is not about being rich or being a millionaire. No, it's just about planning with what you have. What you have, even if it's $1, how are you planning that $1? That's it about it. I'm not talking about being rich. I'm not talking about being millionaire. I'm not talking about anything of that. I am just asking you, how are you doing with your finances? That which you already have in your hands. How are you using it? Are you living in your means? Do you even have a budget? Or you are living on your credit card's debts? How are your savings? Sometimes, you see, we always think that, oh, I can only be able to save when I have this XYZ amount. Or I can be only able to manage my finance when I have this ABCD. No. I'm realizing the older I get that you need to plan your finances. Otherwise, you'll be finding yourself just spending money in things which you don't even need. So I'm asking you, I know this is very uncomfortable, but I want to ask you, this is something that I'm working on myself. Are you living in your means? The grass is always green on the neighbor, but you don't know what they're going through, but you know what you are getting. So are you living in your means, or you are living on the means of social media? What you see others posting, where they live, what they drive, what they, where they dine in. Are you living in your means? I want to ask you this today because these are the most important things we need really to think and be honest with ourselves. Intellectual. How are you doing intellectually? Are you challenging yourself? Are you reading? Are you spending time, reading things which they empower you, encourage you, motivate you? What are you doing for your intellectual? Where do you spend most of your time? Be intentional with that. The other thing I want to leave with you today is relational. How are your relationships? Do you find yourself constantly in conflicts with others, with your spouse, with your children? How are your relationships? Be intentional. How do you spend your time with the people that you have? Your co-workers, your friends. Pay attention. Oh, you guys, it's a constant pick. Where you want to start, this is an ongoing thing for as long as we are here on earth, these 7 areas are going to be a constant thing for us to keep checking every day for as long as we are here on earth. So, on this diary, I'm asking you, how are you doing spiritually, physically, emotionally, mental, environmental, intellectual? And the other thing is, did I leave anything? I think I've summarized them all. So it's emotional, physical, spirituality, environmental, financial, intellectual, and relational. Check all those areas and be real with yourself. Okay? If you haven't gotten a copy of Transform Fear to Freedom, I am sharing even more in depth of these kind of things in that book. I want to encourage you to grab a copy or even buy it for another person. I love reading, and the gift that really I have been blessed with is being able to share the little knowledge that I have with you, my readers, my viewers, and everybody, in the hope that it's going to inspire you and encourage you. You guys, so I want you to be real, okay, and do these steps that I have talked about with you. Don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to comment. Give me your opinions. What other topics do you want me to talk about in the comments below? Stay safe, and I will see you soon with another inspiring diary just like this one. God bless.